All it takes is an idea to grow and develop into a business. The discipline, the craft, and fifth this dream can transform the world and impact your local community. One of the best ways to gather inspiration, stay motivated, and tread through this rewarding path is learning from those who pursue through the journey before you. Hello and welcome. My name is Nick Gabriel, a journalism student at Marist College. Today we are interviewing Aki Ashe and Gisele Rosado about their upcoming book series, The Power of Real Estate and Business book series. Aki, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, my name is Aki Ashe. I'm an author, I'm a realtor, and I'm an investor. And this all basically started from me being the author of my book, The Power of Dressing. I was able to basically meet some like great people from me writing my book, and I'm also the founder of Ashe Capital Company, which is a real estate investment company started in the Hudson Valley, New York.
Awesome. And Gisele, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Absolutely. I am a Hudson Valley native, but I did hightail it out of here at the young age of 17 to go to school in Florida. I then went to law school at Stetson University College of Law, and I stayed there and practiced for just a little bit before coming back to my native Hudson Valley, where I partnered with Richard Chisano and Thomas Murphy, and we now run a small boutique law firm in Mid Hudson Valley, New York, in Newburgh. And we service all of the Hudson Valley from Westchester to Greene counties, practicing uh, real estate full service and investor friendly, also doing bankruptcy and wills, trust, and estate planning.
Really interesting. So, Aki, let's start with you. How did you begin writing this book series?
So I started writing my book series. It's kind of a funny story because I didn't start off as like a writer, and I wasn't like a English major or a journalist major in college. I actually graduated from first I went to Hudson Valley Community College, which is in Troy, New York. Graduated from there, and then I went to John Jay College of Criminal Justice in Manhattan, um, and I graduated from there with a degree in public administration. And from there, I was gonna go and be to law school, but I ended up working as an officer, and then I was applying to jobs like U.S. Marshals, FBI, uh, things of that nature. But as I was in Manhattan, I got attracted to the business world. I seen young, ambitious people that were very successful, and they were all under 30 years old at this time. So I end up starting a small business out of my Brooklyn apartment. I started a neckwear company, and I would basically make these ties from my Brooklyn apartment. I would go into work, people would give me compliments on the way I was dressed, and I would sell these ties one by one by one. Until one day, I actually get a phone call from a college uh, in Brooklyn, and the president wanted to have a meeting with me to see how he could do business with me and my tie company. So from there, he actually placed a order of 10,000 ties. At that time, I didn't have the resources to produce 10,000 ties. So then I had to, I actually ended up agreeing to doing the deal there, but then I had to figure out how I was going to actually produce this material. So I ended up doing some research. I found a manufacturer. I was able to produce 10,000 ties for him. Now I have the capability to do unlimited amount. So from that contract and that transaction, I went on to have other government contracts with the government throughout New York City, through the high schools, through the colleges as well. So from that, um, uh, the colleges wanted to hear my story of how this guy was able to start a business from his Brooklyn apartment. So I started giving speeches and lectures at colleges. And as I gave these talks and these like seminars that I was doing, they wanted me to leave some information with the college students. So I started to write out worksheets. I had worksheets that I would type up. They were like 5 pages long, and everything like the everything I would teach, like the curriculum, I would leave with the college students. And then I had a teacher come to me, and she said, "Hey, have you ever thought about like writing your material down in a book? You sound, some of the information that you're saying can be very helpful, and I think more people need to hear it, not just the college students, everybody." So I said, I would love to write a book, but I had no kind of knowledge of how to even go about writing it, publishing it, distributing it. How would I do this? So me again, I ended up figuring out how to go about this. So I ended up first I published brochures. So I had little brochures that I would publish. I would leave with them. Then I end up finding through a friend, I found a small independent publishing company in Brooklyn. I took my material to them. They took a chance on me, published my work. I think I published about 500 copies of the books for free. I took my own money, invested in myself. I went back to the college. I gave them books for free. Gave them books for free. About a month later, president of that college gives me a $10,000 check. I was like, "Oh wow, this is great! I got to get into this writing business." So so then from there, I wanted to figure out how to market a book. So I started talking to people at the New York Times, talking to people at magazines, and there was a newspaper that used to be like a local paper that circled around Brooklyn. And I got in contact with the publisher there, and I basically figured out how to kind of publish my own newspaper. So
Yeah.
at that time, I hired about 10 journalists. I had them writing articles for me. We hired some marketing people as well, and that's kind of like my preview into how I got into writing. So it translated not from the books, from the books to newspapers, also to magazines,
Yeah.
and now I'm here. Now, I'm
Yeah.
partnering with Gisele. Yeah,
So this new book series you're writing with Giselle, can you tell us a bit about it?
yeah. So the name of the book series is called the Power of Real Estate and Business Book Series. But we're not only going to do just real estate and business. That's how we're starting off. We're also going to do other book series as well. But as far as the real estate book series of me becoming a real estate agent in the real estate industry, I came across a lot of individuals in the real estate industry, whether they're real estate developers, investors, bankers, attorneys, accountants, things of that nature. I basically found that everybody had like an exciting story of how they came into the real estate business. Like some of them didn't come straight out of college, some of them were teachers or in other professions, and then they got into the real estate industry. So I wanted to bring some of that valuable information to people to actually spread a message so maybe they can help provide for their family as well. So
Yeah. So how did you and Giselle cross paths then?
So how me and Giselle crossed paths, I believe it was a real estate event in Hudson Valley, New York, where I was invited to the event. I think it was at like a restaurant or some things of that nature, and she was doing a presentation there. So me, how my mind works, I kind of always look for like sharp people, people that have trust, people that are loyal, people that have integrity, and she seemed like a person that that was that. Um, so that's kind of how we met, and this is kind of how I kind of said, this seems like this partnership can work.
Yeah. And what has been your favorite part in writing this series?
So my favorite part in writing the series, I mean, I'm still developing the series as we speak, but my favorite part is meeting new people and uncovering their story. Um, like for instance, I'm supposed to meet a gentleman today, actually, that in the Catskill area that just built 10 houses, selling them for either like a $500,000 or $1 million each. He's from New York City, and I'm supposed to meet him in a couple hours, and he's supposed to share his story with me. And I think that's one of the greatest parts about it is talking to people that I wouldn't meet every day, and like, you know, talking about things that I necessarily wouldn't ever talk about or meet these people. So
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. So to shift over to Gisele, excuse me. You said you are working at a boutique law firm in the Hudson Valley. What led you to becoming like a real estate attorney?
Well, funny enough, I actually did not follow the traditional path to becoming a lawyer. My undergraduate concentration was actually in biology. I had a last minute change of heart when I chose to double major my senior year of college in criminology and was selected for an internship in my last semester with the Felony C Division of the Hillsborough County State Attorney's Office. And that was one of the most shaping experiences of my career, and also the moment I knew I did not want to practice criminal law. I had always had an interest in real estate. I did buy my first store when I was 19, which I did co-own with my parents at the time. It was actually a condotel in Daytona Beach, Florida, and it did prove to be a great first investment. But I think my passion really truly came to life during the subprime mortgage crisis. While I was practicing in South Florida, the Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Miami-Dade, West Palm Beach area. And that was the hardest hit area by the mortgage bubble burst. I did work alongside some of the most brilliant leaders in the consumer advocacy world. And on a daily basis, I was able to help homeowners who had been taken advantage of to save their homes and their financial futures. And honestly, it was some of the most rewarding work that I've done to date. I wanted to bring some of that knowledge back to the Hudson Valley and see what I could do for the demographic here. Also, being fully bilingual, I knew that there was a need for the underserved, primarily Spanish speaking population here. A lot of people don't know that there's about a 63%, at least in the area where my office is located, primarily speaking a Spanish speaking demographic. And there's probably less than 12% in the Hudson Valley of Spanish speaking attorneys. So there was really a need for that type of representation, so that clients could understand what was happening and really have resources available to them, in their language, and have the ability to have access to those same help that was so desperately needed. So I was very excited to have the opportunity to partner up and bring those resources here. And through that, I also was able to meet with some wonderful clients, and I have now become a sponsor of the Hudson Valley Real Estate Investors Association, which is how Aki and I met each other. I was sponsoring an event where I was speaking. I think it was about some foreclosure moratorium relief that was available during COVID. And Aki and I met at that time. I believe in integrous influence, and I think he and I gelled immediately because he's very much the same way. So, and as you can see, he's just got kind of an infectious nature about him. So it's kind of hard not to gravitate towards him. So, yeah, we ended up talking for over an hour, and before you know it, our ideas were just flowing.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I got to say it's a really interesting career, especially the beginning in like the subprime mortgage crisis, and then bringing all your skills that you learned to the Hudson Valley region. I've got to say it's really interesting. And then to transition over a bit, just talking about the process in writing this book series. What made you want to join forces and start writing a real estate and business book series?
Well, again, partnering with Aki was definitely a motivating factor. He's full of fuel and fire for the future of the market, and he really had a vision for the real estate industry and buying and holding properties throughout the Northeast, and controlling and compounding cash flow at a really impressive growth rate. So I really wanted to take that and my background and his background in criminal justice, financing, marketing, and real estate, and together I thought we would be a real powerhouse to go out there and use our resources and the connections we've made throughout the community to take all of that knowledge and really pass it on. And what a lot of people don't know about Aki as well is that he's quite the philanthropist and regularly donates his time and resources to various organizations. We wanted to come up with a way to do the same through real estate. After all, buying a home is the American dream for most. And we believe that inheritance is not solely monetary, but also includes the wisdom that we all acquire through our shared experiences and lifetime learning. So we wanted to be able to create some sort of tool to share that and pass that down for generations to come. So we wanted to compile these stories to rob the grave of that wisdom and share it with others and leave that legacy of knowledge and wealth for our children and our children's children.
It seems like I've got to say, how do you find and connect with these different stories, especially across the Hudson Valley region? It's really interesting to find these interesting stories.
Well, you'd be surprised. I come across a lot of people as an attorney in the fields that I practice in. I come across realtors, investors, lenders, buyers, sellers, developers, builders, title insurance carriers, hazard insurance carriers, all walks of life. So, and I service a broad area of the region. So from Westchester County all the way north to Greene counties. So I cover a pretty wide area, and I've come across so many people having grown up in the Hudson Valley. You know, it's been easy for me to kind of get around and go to different events, and really it's about getting out there. You know, a lot of people talk a lot and about, oh, you know, one day I want to do this, or oh, I've had this great idea, but it's really about getting out there and becoming involved. And you know, I'm just so excited to hear the stories about people's experiences, where they came from, the mistakes they made, what those mistakes taught them, and you know what they would tell the next generation to create this perpetuity of knowledge, of wealth, of something to leave behind. I'm actually going to be interviewing an investor in the coming weeks who is a cancer researcher by day and an investor with 17 doors by night. So her and her husband only started about 3 years ago investing. And yeah, they now own 17 doors, both here in New York and in the Dominican Republic overseas. So they have quite the story to tell. So it's the average everyday person like you and I who didn't necessarily think that this is the path that they were going to take, but they really wanted to do something that was going to preserve a legacy.
Yeah. I was going to ask you what your favorite part of the book writing process is, but I think you might have answered it. But is this your
Yes.
favorite part? Or what part would you say has been your favorite that you've enjoyed the most, or you're like, I could do this every day?
It's that. It's just listening to people and seeing them light up when they tell about where they came from and where they are now. Just the pride, um, having gotten through the trials and tribulations, the obstacles they've overcome. You know, that's something that should be shared. That's something that should be celebrated. It's really just an incredible inspiration that shouldn't be kept behind closed doors.
Yeah. So, any final words for us?
Well, we hope that this project and through this project, the average American is going to be inspired and that they learn from those industry leaders who've already made their mistakes and adjusted accordingly to parlay more savings into productive assets such as real estate that build wealth than into wasting assets that deplete resources. So, generational wealth is achievable for all, and the path to leaving a legacy shouldn't be a secret, as I was saying. We're here to share the path to that perpetuity.
Naki, any final words?
Yeah. So the final words for me. So I'm more motivational. I would say the final words for me would be a quote from Jim Rome, and he says, "For things to change, you have to change first."
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Thank you guys for the inspiring words and the words that you can learn from. It's an amazing project, and taking these inspirational stories and putting them together for future generations to learn from is a well endearing thing to do. I've got to say.
Thank you. Thank you for the interview as well. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for having us, Nick. Take care.
Take care.